What up? Yo, what's up, reefers? Derek here with another episode. Today we're going over how to change out the filters on your 6-stage BRS RODI system. Thanks for tuning in again. I bought a 6-stage RODI BRS system. I'll be saying that a lot, it's a mouthful. It's awesome. If you haven't bought one, I definitely recommend checking it out. Left a link down below for Bulk Reef Supply. I believe the system costs about $289, but it saves you a ton of money in the long run. Get one. Over time, the filters do get a little bit dirty, so you're probably gonna have to change them out. To do so, first you need to identify if they're ready to be changed. Each system comes with a TDS meter. This basically tests the sediments within the water, tells you if it needs to be replaced or not. I always press it to line 3, and on line 3 it'll tell you what the TDS is for that. Anything above 0, I tend to change out. Just want to make sure I have the most pure water possible to avoid any unnecessary algae blooms within the tank and to keep my water as pristine as possible. Another way to tell if they need to be changed out is by looking at the filters themselves. A lot of times they'll turn brown. That might indicate to you it's time to get new filters. You don't need to replace all the filters at once. It's just something that I like to do just to make sure that everything's back to 0 when I do that, instead of ordering pieces and pieces. After you identify that the filters need to be changed out, you go over to Bulk Reef Supply, place an order for a pack of new filters. I believe they run about $48 right now. Once you place the order for the filters and they come in, you're basically gonna get 2 packs of resin, which go into your DI filters. You're gonna get 2 filters, which I believe are block carbon filters, and then 1 like sock filter that goes in the first stage. So step 1 is to loosen up all of the filters. You're gonna need this guy. Oh, it's nasty. When I was making this video, I was an idiot, and I tried to do everything by hand, forgetting that I had the tool. Then I found the tool and did everything pretty easily. Make sure you have this ready to go. Now, once you start loosening things up, I recommend getting a large bucket. I use just a huge water bucket, a 17-gallon one that I got from Home Depot, pretty cheap. And I unloosen everything in there. I also use a black trash bag because the resin filters are nasty and they are a pain and they get everywhere. It's like little flakes of sand, essentially. After you loosen everything up, it's pretty self-explanatory. You're gonna unscrew the cap for the resin filters. Then you're gonna go ahead and dump that into your garbage bag. Once it's all emptied out, give it a couple taps, make sure it's good to go. You can rinse it out in the sink. Just be wary that you may have like these little resin filters all over your sink after a while. I like to just tap it a few times into the garbage. After that, we're gonna crack open the resin filters that you got, the replacement ones, and start pouring it in there. You can try to use a funnel. Things tend to get clogged up. What I recommend doing is taking the DI filters, putting a little bit in there, and then tapping it onto the ground. It's gonna basically compress all of those beads into the bottom, making room for the top for you to top them off. Don't be worried if there's a little bit of leftovers. This generally happens to me every time I change these out. It's okay, just pack them down as tight as you can. Go ahead and screw the cap on and you're good to go. So after you change out the DI filters, the next move is to go on to the carbon block filters. Pretty easy to do, probably the easiest part. Use the same tool, you crack them open, you pull out the old filters. You can see how nasty and dirty it gets and filthy. This is kind of indicator of how gross tap water really is when it comes to a fish aquarium environment. After you pull them out, toss them, put the new ones in, pretty easy to do. Cap them back on and screw everything back together. I always wait to tighten everything until the end just to make sure that I put everything back together correctly. Go ahead and tighten everything back up. After you're done with that, that is pretty much it when it comes to replacing these filters. I always like to do a test run afterwards, hook it up to your sink, crank her back on, make sure that your TDS meter after a while is not reading anything. You should have a 0 reading in there if the filters are changed out correctly and working properly. That's it, pretty much done. Again, appreciate you guys tuning in today for today's episode. Feel free to leave comments down below, any questions or anything you want to see in future and upcoming episodes. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram @TankBrown. You guys have a great day.